Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, aka man of the people, because I love working for fans of the Carolina Panthers. So if you are a fan, please consider subscribing to the channel. Help us get to 6,000 subscribers, and like the channel if you have already subscribed. All right. Hey, tonight is the show that I love to do and look forward to each and every single week. It is our Ask Me Your Carolina Panthers questions. We do it live, it's interactive, and I'm going to tell you right now, go ahead and we give preference to those who click on the link, which is in the description, to join us tonight on the show. Ask us whatever your Carolina Panthers questions are, such as whatever they may be, all right? So without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce my co-host, who I have not seen for a while, and let me make sure, man, I'm going to tell you guys, you know I'm always real, right? There was this thing, this little screw was moving on my desk, and I thought it was like a rodent or something, and I was about to start killing it, but it's not, thankfully. All right, so let's see if I can properly do this right here. Put this here to here, put this here to here, and if I have done correctly, I will now have Andre Cassidy.
What's going on, everybody? It's been a minute since we've last, been together live, but, it feels good to be here today with all of you, the Charlotte Vibe fam, as I like to call it, and to be here with the man of the people, Chris Jenkins.
Hey, now, Andre, just to me now, you seem a little low. I don't know if the people are going to say the same thing. Maybe I got a little wax in my earpiece, but you seem a little low. Let me also make sure that my camera screens are up. Yep, my camera screens are working properly. One of these days, I'm gonna fix it back to where I'm on the left, but I'm not. It's not that big of a deal. I don't care. You gonna give me a mic check, or what do you think?
All right, here we go. I just unplugged my mic. That's why it was a little delayed there. But
don't go unplugging your mic.
Got to make sure everything's working right. But I hope everybody can hear me.
Yeah, you still faded a little, but anyway, we'll just wait and see if the people say that you sound low, or if I just got some wax in my ear that I need to get out. Which it could be the case, right? My son does all kinds of stuff to my ears these days.
All right. Yeah, leave your comments. See, like I said, as an independent third party. Let us know if we're sounding okay or not.
Yep. So again, everybody, we're about to bring on our special guest for tonight. We like to bring in guests as often as we can, whether it's players or whether it's other reporters. And we do have one for you tonight, but I am going to look around my screen and make sure I bring him in properly first before I give him this wonderful introduction. Let's see if I hit this button here. Looks like he's there. Can we get a mic check?
What's good, brother? How do I sound?
Hey, you sound good. So we have success,
you sound
folks.
Great.
We
Wonderful.
have the luxury of having with us. I mean, he has a lot of AKAs: Book of Ellis, Stat Man, Short. And look, and now Andre's going. I don't know what happened to him, but he has a lot of nicknames. But the best one is the man. Okay, Ellis Williams of the Charlotte Observer is joining us tonight. Ellis, how are you doing?
Doing well, man. It's a busy Monday. They always are, with holidays coming up and all that too. We got different types of deadlines, but I'm happy to be here.
Hey, well, is it proper to call her? I was going to say Mama Ellis, but your last name is Williams. Is Mama Williams going to be in town for the holiday?
I'm actually headed to Minnesota to go visit the family. I'm originally from north up there where it snows in the winter, so I will be taking off and getting home for a little bit.
That explains the shorts. Anytime that you can wear them, that
Exactly.
you put them on.
Exactly. There's nothing to me, man.
All right, so I think we're all here, which is good. So Ellis, welcome to the show, man. This show is pretty casual, man, pretty fun. We just go through whatever comes on the top of our heads, or if there's people that are chiming in with questions and comments, we comment on those. And as our guests, we like to always give you first at bat and take your time responding to those things so we can all have some fun tonight. And we go to be interactive. So we actually got a few comments on here that I'm going to talk about really quickly. We got Vo that says, let me get off my, there we go. Bryce Young is on the way, fellas. Okay. Already got some quarterback talk going on right there. And then a favorite, Shakid Bartal. It's the book of Ellis, chapter one time. I think that sounds like somebody that's happy to see you.
That's what's up. We're already a few chapters into the book of Ellis. One's a good start.
All right, and then Panther Pickle is on here. So you know what? I got stuff that I'm gonna play, but again, I love to respect. I love when people come on the show, but I really, really respect your time. So we got 22 minutes with the Book of Ellis tonight, and we're gonna just jump right on into it. Ellis, I'm gonna throw this question on here for you, and boom, Panther Pickle got it. Jumps on our shows regularly. He wants to know the chances that Steve Wilks is our next head coach.
Oh, that's a good one right there.
Yeah. Well, over the weekend, I was able to report that there is internal support building for Steve Wilks to be retained as the head coach. If the Panthers do go in a different direction, there's also interest in retaining Steve Wilks as part of the future staff. Now, of course, like everything, all of this is very fluid. But Steve has shown and demonstrated traits of what owner David Tepper is looking for in a head coach, someone with a CEO mentality, who is firm, but also a good communicator with players, coaches, and the media. And I think we're still very much in a wait-and-see mode with all of this. Of course, upsetting the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday would have went a long way to making a case for Steve Wilks to be this team's next full-time head coach. The team in reality still does not have a road win. They do not have a win outside the NFC South. So there's still things that Steve Wilks needs to accomplish for me to say he's a favorite or anything like that to land this head coaching job. But his prospects have improved since he took the job, 6 weeks ago now.
Yeah, and Ellis, I'm curious. I wasn't in that press conference today. I had to watch remotely, but for me, it seems like Wilks is becoming more critical of his team, and he's becoming more stern about I'm not just going to be everybody's best friend. I'm going to make sure that we get this right. I love you guys, but now I need to start. I almost feel like he's saying, okay, I coddled you the first couple weeks, and but we're strong, and now I'm ready to say, hey, we got to grow up.
Yeah, I think like anything, there's always a feeling out process when you start something new, and that's what Steve Wilks was doing 6 weeks ago. I mean, the Los Angeles Rams game feels like forever ago, right? When P.J. Walker didn't have a completion deeper than or longer than 1 yard past the line of scrimmage. So now that you're through, a month of a season, 6 games, you start to really steep in your expectations. And Steve Wilks is a no BS, keep it 100 type of person. And for him to say today that he expects his stars to play like stars tells you that there were some moments in that game on Sunday where he thought the Panthers' best players didn't perform up to their ability. And that's usually the case when an offense only scores 3 points and has 3 fourth quarter turnovers, and all 4 of those drives essentially were turnovers, considering the only one that wasn't a turnover on paper was a turnover on downs.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you said that quote from him that you said. Let me go ahead and play this clip right here that I have hopefully queued up properly, and for everybody to see what Ellis is talking about, what Steve Wilks said today. Here we go.
The message that I talked about this morning in the team meeting, our star players got to play like stars. All right, they need to step up. All right, so across the board on both sides of the ball, all right, they need to play. And then if you're a first or second round draft pick, you're that for a reason. If we brought you in as a free agent, you're a star player. Go play.
All you know.
You're here for a reason.
I mean, that's as blunt as it gets right there.
Yep, exactly. He's getting after him. And, that's what this team needs right now, right? I mean, when you see DJ Moore drop that ball across the middle that would have converted, gave the Panthers a new set of downs, pushed them into Baltimore territory, you wonder, how does that happen to a player like DJ Moore, who just this past offseason signed an extension that made him one of the top 5 or 6 highest paid receivers in football. Terrace Marshall, a second-round pick, dropped a would-be touchdown down the left sideline. Yeah, it would have been a tough catch, a one-hander, but he was making plays like that at LSU. And I think Steve Wilkes' point was very specific. If you are a first or second rounder, then play like it. And the receiving room is stocked with first and second rounders. You're talking about DJ Moore, a 2018 first rounder. You're talking about Terrace Marshall, a 2021 second rounder, and Laviska Shenault, he's either a 2021 second rounder or a 2020 second rounder. Point being, all three of those guys fit that wheelhouse of what Wilkes was saying, where if you're picked in those first 60 spots, we need more.
Absolutely. Andre, I don't know if you had a comment there before I read on.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of the whole sternness and the bluntness of Steve Wilkes, how do you think the guys are responding to that, and are they responding to that level of just truth that he's dropping, in some of these press conferences that he's been having?
We're going to find out. I think going into the Ravens game and coming off the Atlanta win, there was a buy-in to Steve Wilkes that was predicated or surrounded by the fact that he is really sticks to his game theory, his philosophies entering football games. Fans can boo and tweet complaints all they want when the Panthers are punting on fourth and short or punting across the 50-yard line, but Steve Wilkes does that for a very specific reason, and it's to support the quarterback, which is just code for the fact that you don't trust your quarterback in situations that could compound for your defense. He is set in the way that he thinks this team can win games, and it's running the football and allowing his defense to defend long fields. After the Ravens game, now this is the first time I've really seen him call out somebody like a DJ Moore. And, that sounds so dramatic when we say it that way, right? Like a headline, Panthers coach Steve Wilkes calls out DJ Moore. That's not what happened. It's about the overall message, and the fact is that DJ Moore would be the first to admit that he needs to play better as well. I think all these Panthers players all year have been under this understanding that, scheme only gets you so far. There's a lot of execution out there that is not up to first or second round talent production.
Yeah, and it's funny that he made the statements about DJ Moore today, because yesterday, I think it was my post-game show, I was talking about DJ Moore, and my feeling was that, and I went back to, when there was trade talks and just how things are going with this team. I said, I personally like DJ Moore. He's a talented guy, but we're not getting anything out of him. And then when he does get an attempt lately, he's dropping a pass. And people are like, hey, no, I'm not going to allow any DJ Moore slander. And I said, hey, listen, clearly, I like the guy. But his performance and his drops, he's been dropping a decent amount of balls this year. And I didn't even know, is that, there's a mental toll that takes place when you have one coach and then he leaves. You have star players and then they leave. You're not getting the ball, and then you finally get an opportunity. It's like, I don't know if he's turning it on, turning it off, but he's definitely not as sharp as that he could be. And if I can, for those that may have not had it, Ellis, you're going to have to come on all the time. You got all my spots queued. You're making me look like a good producer over here. I'm going to share with you the clip where he talks about DJ Moore.
Teams have been trying to double him, because he is that threat. And then offensively, as a staff, we got to find more creative ways to get him the ball. So there's a combination of all three. The respect that he's getting throughout the league with the double teams, when he does have the opportunity to catch the ball, he needs to pull it in. And then as a coaching staff, we got to find more creative ways to get him the ball.
Now, he mentioned him pulling it in more than once. I wasn't able to quickly find it before we got on here to get that proper cut. But, Ellis, you also spoke on the fact of trusting his quarterbacks and how he calls the game. And, the game, the way it started out yesterday, I said I was shocked. Pre-game, I'm saying, I already know what's going to be the plan. First down, run the ball. Second down, run the ball. Fourth down, maybe a pass. Fourth play, but I just knew that the first, 3 plays would be runs, and they were not. He actually went to pass the ball. I forget, you're a good stat guy, but I'd say maybe 50% of, well, was it a 3-and-out the first series?
I believe they had four or five in the
Yeah.
first series.
But he attempted to throw the ball several times, and when that happened, I said, well, this could be that he's becoming a mastermind coach and says everybody thinks I'm going to run the ball. But I said I feel like it's more of he trusts Baker Mayfield more than he trusts PJ Walker, because I don't feel like we've seen PJ Walker come out with that kind of scripted pass the ball in the beginning of the game.
No, it's a great observation, and I just checked.
Teams have been trying to double him.
Oh, hold on, sorry,
because
I
he
hit
is
the wrong
that
button.
threat.
Hold on, let me fix this so I don't do it again. Hold on, let me fix this.
Teams have been trying to double him.
All right, go ahead, Ellis. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, brother. Astute observation by you. The first series had 7 plays. Going back and checking the game book right now, and I think it's important to keep in mind. And Steve Wilkes has said this multiple times during the year at his pressers: is they predicate their game plan based on opponent much more than they do who the quarterback is. Which tells you they really probably see all these quarterbacks as about the same, and then how they have to then set up that quarterback versus the team they're playing will dictate the opening game script. So what all those early throws tell me is, first of all, I believe they would have called the game the exact same way had PJ Walker been playing. Secondly, what it tells me about what they thought of the Ravens was that Steve Wilkes and Ben McAdoo had respect for Ravens cornerbacks Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey in the sense that their reputation is that they are press man, handsy, grabsy, physical corners. Well, you need to establish at least a threat of throwing the football early on versus defensive backs like that to set a tone for the game that will loosen them up a little bit. And if it doesn't loosen them up, then you try them deep and try your luck that way. Neither of those scenarios worked out for Carolina, obviously. But I understood the game plan after you go back and kind of decompress with it. Those 2 corners on the outside for Baltimore are very impressive. And they won almost every matchup on Sunday against DJ Moore and Terrace Marshall, and especially Shi Smith.
Especially Shi Smith. Again, Andre, I'll give you a chance to chime in here as well.
Yeah, so let's talk about the guy who was throwing them the ball, Baker Mayfield. Let's assess his performance yesterday. What did you think about what he did yesterday? What did he do? Because the offense was pretty stagnant for majority of the game. They only put up 3 points the entire game yesterday.
Yeah, it's a lot of the same with Baker Mayfield. When you're evaluating him in a vacuum in his individual play, it's limited. As soon as he has to come off that second or third read and create something off script, he can't do it. He does not have the athleticism to extend plays in this league unless the play call is designed to have him move the pocket and change the launch point. We saw some early bootlegs that are a product of Ben McAdoo's scheme and not Baker Mayfield's ability. As soon as you get into drop back game with Baker Mayfield and force him to either beat you with his first or second read or create off script and find secondary plays, Baker cannot do it. With that being said, because we know all this about Baker, or at least we should know, Baker's playmakers, as we already got into, did not do him any favors on Sunday either. This is a very different game and a very different narrative if Terrace Marshall makes a highlight reel one-handed catch for a touchdown, if DJ Moore is able to move the chains and push the team into field goal range with his lone catch, perhaps that's a long field goal try. And I sound like a broken record because I've said these things about the Panthers tight ends during the first 5 weeks of the season when Baker Mayfield was started, highlighting some drops that would have changed drives and put potential points on the board for Baker Mayfield. Specifically, I want to say it was the 49ers game. If it wasn't the Niners game, then it was the game before that. My point is this. We know what Baker Mayfield is as a quarterback. He needs everything around him to operate nearly perfectly for him to be above average signal caller, but the Panthers just are not that type of infrastructure right now, and thus you see an offense that just does not even come close to having the firepower it takes to support a defense that continues to play pretty consistently.
We got a little chatter going on in the comments about
Yep.
the head coach. If it's not Steve Wilks, do you have a preference right now of Steve Wilks being back? What's Ellis Williams?
Yeah, look, I am a big believer in
The
consistency. Exactly. Right, exactly. Consistency, continuity, and making sure you have the right culture moving forward. So that's a lot of clouded language. I'll break it down like this. Everyone in this game is so eager to call for people to lose their jobs, yet there's never a solution brought forth for said problem. Meaning, if you're going to fire somebody, you better be damn sure the replacement is going to be better. And right now, it's tough to guarantee that because the unknown's the unknown. When you bring in a head coach, everything changes. We're talking general manager potentially to coordinators to scheme to position coaches. There are things that this team is doing really well from a front office standpoint. You have to commend Scott Fitterer and the Panthers brass for the marginal players that they have put around their top blue chip prospects. Derek Brown taking a leap, J.C. Horn proving to be a shutdown corner. Ike Ekwonu is looking like the best left tackle in the draft. And then they have gotten guys like Bradley Bozeman who have solidified this offensive line. Well, you also got to credit offensive line coach James Kempen for a lot of that as well. If you bring in a new head coach, is Kempen going to remain?
Right.
Perhaps. But just because you say, well, if he has a spot if he wants to be here, what if Kempen and the head coach don't see eye to eye when they sit down and get the room and they have their first beer? These are the things that are so simplistic and so human about this job that I don't think we talk about enough. Point being, Steve Wilks is having in the middle of a 12-game tryout, and each week his brand and his culture seep deeper and deeper into this organization, and he has a chance each week to become more lockstep with general manager Scott Fitterer. I tend to lean just naturally based on the variable that you do know when you can see signs of improvement and of consistency, then to blow everything up. Now, if they blow everything up, I can list you a ton of offensive coordinators and we can do the whole hot coaching candidate list. I'll tell you one thing, it won't be Sean Payton. How about that?
Oh man, you surprised me with that one. I really thought that there was some traction to that one, man. I thought, you got the inside scoop that Tepper's wanting to open up the playbook, and New Orleans not going to care about
I
competitive
think he's
advantages.
liking his gig at Fox Sports. I think he'll be good right there.
Yeah, he looks pretty comfortable on all those couches, huh?
When I was watching the game yesterday, I thought about this, man. The exposure that we have when the run game doesn't work. And just how much can we go to a backup plan of having a passing game that is successful? And I don't know if that's more on the quarterback or more what we've been doing with the receivers that are running or the scheme. Maybe nobody knows. But as I think about it, one thing that I would like to see is Laviska Shenault Jr. just used a little bit differently. Laviska is a guy that has, I guess, some deceptive speed. I mean, he'll get a ball and run 60 yards beyond like 7 guys in a heartbeat. And I just go to say, why do we not? We've seen DJ Moore get some throws down the field, more than 5-10 yards. Shi Smith, Terrace Marshall. Why can't we get a guy like Shenault the ball more than, I don't think, has he yet had a pass to him that was more than maybe 5 yards down the field, getting him more involved and bringing Shi Smith less involved right now?
No, it's a great question. My gut tells me that it speaks to the limits of Laviska's route tree. The fact that he really is only capable of getting open behind the line of scrimmage in situations. I would love, but we say that in fun, but honestly, I really would like to, because I'm sure in his mind he thinks that he can go out and run a 12-yard curl or a sound 15-yard comeback. He's just not given those opportunities, and forgive me, I'm not going to turn on Jacksonville Jaguar tape and go look and see if he did that. Right? Right now, just because of the limited resources, you got to trust Ben McAdoo and that staff that they know what Laviska does best, and they're putting him in those situations to succeed. And if they're not, then that's a whole referendum on the staff, and we have deeper problems here. We speaking as if I was David Tepper or something like that. I'm not sure if Laviska is a player that can do all of those things, but you're kind of at a point in the season where why not, right? Like one of the Panthers' best plays may just be run deep and see if you can get a pass interference call. The EPA per play on that was a little better than a sack.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys hear my little guy in the background. He's walking now, so he may pound on my door here in a second.
What's good, little man?
Oh, that's what's up.
Go ahead, Andre. I'll let you. We got to respect the man's time. I'll go ahead and let you toss him the last one.
Yeah, so we talked about Shi Smith and kind of just where he's at mentally right now. That fumble that he had in the fourth quarter was a costly turnover. I mean, that was a big turning point in the game. So, we talk about resiliency with Steve Wilks, and that's kind of been the theme over the past couple of weeks. And, that's kind of been his calling card with the team. How do you think Shi Smith responds to what took place yesterday? Do you think that could be a stepping stone for him to start playing better moving forward? Because he's kind of been shaky up to this point here this season.
Hey, a fun interruption for you. Is Ted Ginn? I'm sorry. Is Shi Smith the current version of Ted Ginn for the Carolina Panthers? Lots of maybe, but oops, not quite.
Yeah, I do. I think the longest catch Shi Smith has this year is about 22 yards, and Ted Ginn would usually get 50 yarders. So, if we see that, then we can build upon that. To the point of how he'll respond, he's at a critical point in his career right now. He had a critical catch against the Falcons on Thursday night, and now a critical fumble against the Ravens the following Sunday. That fumble aside, he actually, in my opinion, Steve Wilks protected him today, but in my opinion, and I had some coaches text me, just people around the league who were watching the game, and just said that Shi Smith did Baker Mayfield no favors on that route. If you watch it, it looks like some sort of return zig where he's working back to the sideline, and rather than staying parallel or flat to the line of scrimmage, he not only drifts, he drifts both towards the line of scrimmage and away from it because he doesn't really know where he wants to go, allowing Marlon Humphrey to just completely undercut the pass. And a receiver, you're taught, if anything, be parallel or even come back to the line of scrimmage when you are working on a short yardage route. And Shi Smith did neither. So not only was the fumble his fault, he could take some blame for the interception. A tough Sunday for the young man. He's capable of bouncing back. We haven't really seen it, but he's also not really in a passing game that's going to give him much opportunity to bounce back. I'll end it on this note. I'm curious when this team's going to turn to Sam Darnold, because I'm confident he will start some games here as we get into late November and December. I'm not sure what that means for this receiving group, but from a offensive standpoint, Sam Darnold at least is the most athletic of the group and perhaps can pick up some yardage with his feet in the way that Daniel Jones is for the Giants this year if Ben McAdoo is willing to tailor some play calls for him. We shall see. This team needs to run the football, play defense, and get more production out of their wide receivers if they're going to win any games outside of the NFC South this year.
Is Shi Smith a liability on special teams?
He has not. They keep saying they're going to talk to him.
Hey, I appreciate you coming on very much. For everybody that's tuning in right now, we have in the descriptions information for you to support, follow Ellis Williams on Twitter over there at the Charlotte Observer, where he does a great job covering his team every single day. Ellis, I appreciate you much, man. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
All right, brother. Much love. Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Take care. See you.
All righty, let me clear his screen. Uh-oh. I just I just kicked Andre off the video. Andre, come back. I'm sorry. Well, while Andre is there, he is. He's coming back. He's coming back. I did him wrong. I did him so wrong. Andre, please continue to be friends. I just hung up on you.
Ooh, you nearly gave me a heart attack. I was like, did I do that on my end? Like, what just happened over there? But nonetheless, it was good having Ellis on. That was a treat right there. Some unique insight from the Book of Ellis, as they call him. But I mean, he left us on a pretty ominous note and a question that I think a lot of people are going to be having over the next couple of days. Is Sam Darnold going to be the guy moving forward?
Is Sam Darnold going to be the guy? I don't want Sam Darnold to be the guy. I'm nice when our guests come on. I bring guests because, we all like to hear different point of views.
Right. And I know you're not very enticed to that idea.
So I am guilty of starting to really like PJ Walker. Not as like the next answer, but just as the man for the rest of the season. PJ Walker can definitely run the ball if he needs to. In terms of arm strength, I mean, if that throw versus Atlanta didn't let you know how much arm strength this guy has, I think it's pretty impressive.
Right.
And he's been doing, what is he, he was 2-3, I guess. And
I believe so, yeah.
Right now. So, and he's not had the wheels on the bus come off. Now, that game against Cincinnati was terrible, but that was not just PJ Walker.
Yeah.
He did throw an interception, but that was at the end when he was pressing. Same thing that Baker Mayfield did at the very end of the game yesterday, having the I think it was 2 possessions in a row where he threw those interceptions. And we talked about continuity just from the perspective of coaches. If you fire a coach, what he can have next. It's the same thing. If you fire / change the role of PJ Walker, and now you put another guy in there, now you're losing continuity again. And now you're having what I feel like players to have to mentally. I know you could say like this is the NFL, but it's still a challenge, right? To now get used to, okay, well now this is my guy. Well now this is my guy. Well now this is my guy, right? And you're trying to establish rapport and connections with guys. And you're certainly trying to develop some of these guys, right? So like Terrace Marshall Jr., which by the way, we'll be on our show tomorrow. It was supposed to be tonight, but we had to push it to tomorrow, so please look for that. But he's starting to, I feel like Terrace Marshall is starting to get a connection with all the quarterbacks. And I really feel like he's starting to do so because he's not a giant, but he's certainly is longer and taller than our other wide receivers. And that's like a safety net. So PJ Walker was starting to hit him. Baker's starting to hit him. But I was going to say, if you stick with that one quarterback, and if these guys are pretty much all neck and neck with just subtle differences, then stick with the one guy and allow these receivers that certainly need some development. Terrace Marshall needs some development. Shi Smith needs some development. Allow them to get some continuity with their route running, with their communications, with that one quarterback. And I don't know if you've seen it, Andre, but we've been having a good little fight of some sorts going on in this comment.
Yeah.
Normally I can read them a lot, but I think these guys are just talking to each other in there.
I mean, it is quite the show within the show, if you will, in the comments section. But again, continue to leave your comments about this team. Again, we are your outlet source here in the media. Keep leaving those comments. I know y'all have been active tonight, and we'll be getting to some of those here in the next short while. But yeah, like you said, Chris, continuity is the thing that's lacking at that particular spot on the field. And I don't know if we're going to be getting any more continuity this week, just due to the part that these guys are hurt. PJ Walker is hurt. And, with Sam Darnold being back in there, back in the mix, I mean, we'll have to see. But, health is really the big factor for why, we can't seem to be consistently starting the same guy from week to week.
That is a good point. Health has been a problem. PJ Walker was never in a boot, so I would say, and I'm certainly far from the expert on even knowing all the bones that other reporters are able to talk about and ligaments, but I feel like that should mean he's in a respectable chance to get some action this week as far as being a starter. But nevertheless, let's go ahead and see if we can pick out a few comments here from you guys talking to each other. Talk to me, talk to Andre, talk to you boys, man. We're here for you guys. Let's see if I. Here's just a positive comment from Taylor Sheridan. Sam might be the guy at the Seahawks game. No, I'm going to the Seahawks game. I don't want to see it in person.
Hey, that gives you more of a reason to go to Seattle, Chris. This is your guy, Sam Darnold.
No, I don't want to.
Speechless.
But PJ, I don't want to see him. But PJ wasn't pushed off the starting QB, was he? I thought he was just hurt. I think PJ has had the most command. So, can you figure out exactly that comment, Andre? If you're not sure, that's fine.
I think he was just saying just because of the injury, that's why he didn't play. But he's assuming that PJ is going to be the starter until otherwise. That's how I interpreted that. It was just because of the injury, that's why he wasn't in there.
Yeah, and PJ having command, certainly I'm trying to think about the full context of this before I say it because I'm thinking about guys in the locker room. All right, so I don't feel like there's enough context to say guys were really supportive of PJ, noticeably different from other guys. Just from the point of when I was in the locker room and talking to guys about PJ was the next man up at that point. Baker's out, Sam's out, and so your guys should rally for that guy. And now that Baker's up, I'm trying to think if I can kind of think about and process what guys are talking about, their attitudes in the locker room. So I don't know if I can fairly say any comparison there. I thought I was going to give you all some insight that I felt like, they're going to support your quarterback regardless. They're going to do that. But I was going to say that I felt like the support was PJ was a little bit strong. I don't know if I can really say that as much as I want to, but nevertheless.
But to piggyback off what you said, though, Chris,
Mm-hmm.
I think from this perspective, PJ Walker is an easier guy to root for because, look, that quarterback room was loaded in the preseason, right? Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, PJ Walker, and then Matt Corral. He was the odd man out in that picture. If everybody was healthy, PJ Walker was probably going to be the guy that was going to get cut. So the fact that he is here, he is still on the team, and the fact that he stayed ready and was prepared at a moment's notice, I think it makes his likeliness or likefulness easier to root for because of that. The fact that he was able to stay prepared and be ready to go at a moment's notice. That makes, guys in the locker room relate to him even more. And, that makes that process of rooting for him and being behind him just a little bit easier compared to some of the other quarterbacks that were on the roster.
I'll take that. I like that.
Yeah.
Another comment here talking about the quarterbacks. We need to keep starting Baker. He's the perfect tank commander to land us Bryce Young. So that's Bo, not exactly cheering for Baker Mayfield. Hey, quick plug. Independent media, 100% supported by our viewers. Anytime you have a chance to do a super chat, a donation to help us continue to do what we do, we appreciate it. $1, whatever it may be, so that we can continue to grow. and subscribe as well. That's free, very supportive, helps us get more players on the show. Everybody likes an audience, so consider hitting that subscription button. I got a clip here that I want to play Ellis was queuing them up, man. I was loving the fact that he was just queuing up all the clips that I'd already pre-cut for the show. I got one more that I just want to share. We'll comment about it, and then we'll continue to get back to these comments here. Please continue to leave your comments, and there's a link in the description if you're brave. Even though I don't think you have to be brave, we're nice people, to come on the show,
right?
Vent or let us know a question that you may have. All right, let's get this last clip up here.
Just as I'm looking at you in your eyes, that's exactly how I deal with my players. I don't try to coach them through the media, so I don't come in here and say certain things to you guys that I haven't said to them. So